3, 2, 1. Can you hear me now? Can you see me now? We're trying the FlightRadar 24 live feed of the 737 historic first recertification flight of the 737 MAX. Is it working? Can you hear me now? Can you see me now in the lower left-hand corner? All right, thanks, Mart's. Mart's Garage checking in here. So let me see. How should I pull this together? Let's minimize this so I can try and keep that going. Let's pull this. Let's just keep this rolling here so we don't mess this up. Okay. All right, so there it is, the Boeing 737 MAX on a historic first recertification flight with we should have an FAA inspector pilot, test pilot in the left seat, and a Boeing test pilot in the right seat. Looks like they're headed back over towards, is that Boeing Field? I'll verify that. But it looks like they were over at Moses Lake earlier today. Maybe stopped for lunch, but they're doing some maneuvers over there. Got to drink some more FAA-approved coffee. And I think they're headed back over to Boeing Field at this time. So look up FlightRadar 24, BOE 701, and the call sign is November 7201 Sierra. So they're going from Moses Lake back over to BFI in Seattle. Let's see if we can get some more information up here. Now, I'm trying to get your comments up here at the same time. Let me try that without messing it up. All right, good. Let's see. We're still looking at the live feed, okay, of the FlightRadar 24 track. And I'll try and get some of these more reasonable comments possibly answered here. Yeah, I got to get the ball cap here. Loud and clear, good. Yeah, I'm in the lower left corner there, Brian, and we're flight tracking the historic flight of the first 737 MAX test flight for certification. Video resolution not optimal. That's all right, it's close enough. Loud and clear in England, very good. Farm Mech, thank you, sir. Now, maybe they're going to continue to do some more maneuvers over here. If we go back over to the FlightRadar 24, we're looking at estimated 2:17 p.m. It's 1:53 here, West Coast time. So they got another 20 or 30 minutes estimated flying time for this test flight. And I think they did land at Moses Lake earlier today. This might be the second leg of this test flight today. Again, with the FAA on board, testing all sorts of different features of the 737, making sure it's all working correctly. Now, when they get this thing pristine, thanks. When they get through this series of test flights, they're still going to have a ton of work to do on this airplane. Not so much the airplane, but on the whole program. They've got to sort out how they're going to develop the training program to satisfy not everybody here in the United States, but also everybody over in Europe as well. And determine finally what sort of level of training is our pilots going to receive on the new 737 MAX. It will involve simulator training. As much as they've tried to avoid that over this whole debacle, there will be simulator training requirement for the 737 MAX. Let me see some of your questions here. Yes, I work at Southwest. Kevin says, I work at Southwest Airlines. I really need this plane. There are back orders of over 3,000, close to 4,000 orders for this airplane. Remember, several hundred have come off the assembly line since the thing was grounded. It'll take them a couple of months to possibly a year just to clear that backlog of aircraft that have come off the assembly line that are finished to get them up and flying and to the customers, the airlines that need them, and then resume production to fill the remaining 3,000 or more orders for this aircraft. So folks at Southwest Airlines, they that are dependent on the 737, they really need the new 737 MAX to backfill the aging fleet of aircraft with a much more efficient version of the 737. No masks on the engine intake. You saw the MAX fly over your house on Friday. So was there a test flight back on Friday? I think today is the first actual test flight, at least the one they're publicizing today. It's almost to Seattle. Do I got to refresh the page? Let's do that. Is it not moving? It should be tracking. Isn't it tracking? Yeah, okay, here we go. Yep, it's up over the Olympia Mountains now. Past Leavenworth, Washington, heading back over towards Seattle. If somebody could pull up the weather for Seattle, I'm sure it's a beautiful day up there today. Light winds and clear temperatures. Let me see if I can back this up a little bit. Thanks, Brett. Hello from Alabama. Nope, no simulator training for the passengers. And that's the thing as a passenger. I want to say a lot of us aren't going to know if we're on a 737 MAX or some other variation of the 737 once we get on board the airplane. Now, is that thing not showing it fast-forwarded correctly here? Or should I stay on this page here? Pete, I need one more. I need you guys to find this live feed find that live feed on my cell phone. Find this live feed on the cell phone so I can keep up with the comments. That just doesn't look like it's updating, does it? Let me try another window capture here. There, how does that look a little better there? Did you find it, Pete? Oh, good. Good job, Pete. You really are an ace technician here. Now let's see if I can bring the video back up here a little bit. Let's see. Let's order that back up to the top. There we go. And let's get our image back up here. If you're just joining us, we're watching the historic first flight of the 737 MAX recertification flight up in the Pacific Northwest. And let's order that back up to the top. Watching it via FlightRadar 24, the FlightRadar application. A fantastic program. Morning, Pete. You got a lot of fan mail here. Yeah, they're up over the Olympia Mountains now, heading back over towards Washington for the final landing. Should be in about 20 minutes or so. The METAR, I missed your METAR there. Who we got, Pete? Flight's coming over Walla Walla at 14,000 feet. No, since I'm a 777 pilot, I will not be getting current or qualified on the 737 unless I fly that bid status.
Kablamo!
No kablamos on this one. This is a critical test flight, Pete. Only smooth landings by test pilots on this one. I'm not landing this airplane today. It's not going to be like a Luscombe landing. Thanks, Robert. So that's the 737 MAX on its historic first new test flight. And good, it's refreshing now. FlightRadar 24 is properly refreshing.
Why are you...
We're watching it because it's the first flight. We've been following this saga for a long, long time now, Pete. Passenger confidence may be virtually irreversible, but the point I want to make is it's going to be virtually impossible for any of us to tell whether we're on a 737 MAX or not when we go board an airplane. When you go buy a ticket, it'll say one type of aircraft, and by the time that you actually get on an airplane, it could very well be an equipment swap out and a completely different change of aircraft. Your ticket may be, say, 737, but you could be on any model of 737. And when you look at your card in the back of the seat, at least at Southwest, it's going to have reference to a 737 MAX, whether you're on the MAX or not. So it's going to be very hard to tell unless you have been following this channel real closely and know what a 737 MAX exactly looks like as you walk down the jet bridge. Even still, are you going to be that one person when the FAA now says there's that new FAA PA requirement that says we're about to close the door and here's your last chance to get off the plane if you want to? Are you going to be that one person to say, I want to go now, thanks? And as much as people say here online how much they'll never get on the 737 MAX, I just don't believe it because, A, you're either not doing much flying anyways, or B, you won't even know what airplane you're getting on by the time you get on it and get down the road. The new 777s will start rolling off the line? Don't know. I'll have to research that one. A C-130 to a barrel roll? I don't know about that either. Watching from Renton. All right. Yeah. Pete did his stock predictions like Kramer on TV there, CNBC. I'm a 777 pilot, or I was a 777 pilot until a co-pilot or in the right seat of the 777 until I was medically grounded. By the way, if you haven't already heard the breaking news, I do have a certified letter from the FAA to go get a provisional or a special issuance Class 1 medical. So I'm going to have to eventually quit goofing off on this much on YouTube and go back to work. But I still plan on doing plenty of YouTubing, even though I get back to work on a full-time, so to speak, basis with the major airline here in the States. So the great debate I'm having is what should I go back to? And I'm going to have to form an informal poll here on the YouTubes amongst all you folks. Should I go back to the 777 right seat where I was for a relatively short course of training? Chewy, shut up. Or should I consider going to the right seat of the 787? And I'll discuss in a future update what all the pros and cons of that are. Right now, I would lose a little bit of seniority, about 10% seniority, going to the right seat of the 787. But on the other hand, the Boeing 777 is a dying fleet. So the 787 will eventually take most all of the flying of the Boeing 777. All right, they're heading into the Puget Sound area. Max have special winglets and engine covers. No. Do I miss not flying commercial? I've really enjoyed my time home. I mean, this is the first time in my life Texas Swinger asks if I miss my commercial flying. And I miss the paycheck. The disability is a 60% cut in pay. But I really have enjoyed my time home this last year. It's really giving me a practice run at retirement, and I've learned a lot. American pilots have training and licenses. So I assume that's in reference to the thing in Pakistan. I've been holding off on talking about the issue of pilots' licenses over in Pakistan until we get actual facts. There's so much media hype that swirls out of there that it's hard to tell fact from fiction. Yeah, a lot of folks don't fly anymore, and those are the folks that'll say they'll never get on one. Yeah, aircraft swap outs where you're supposed to be on a 7.5, next thing you know, you're on a 7.3. Yeah. They're swapping aircraft all the time. That's just part of the puzzle of the airlines have to continuously piece together every day. The world's largest puzzle, getting thousands of flights and millions of people to their destination safely every day. Too many tabs open? Yeah, that's probably true. But I'm just finishing up a couple other updates, and I want to keep those open for right now. We just did a update over on Patreon. Is already up on the recent Poville fire over in Reno, Nevada. I got a great debrief from some of the crews that were flying on that fire. Very interesting debrief on that. Just finished that up. Greetings from Oregon. No new update on 8303 yet. I think the big news on that we'll be waiting for is the actual cockpit voice recorder from Pakistan Airlines Flight 8303. That's what will tell the rest of that story. The 757 line, yeah, in hindsight, would have been better to redesign the 75. Probably a lot of folks in Boeing that would agree with you on that. But again, the money, the folks, I don't want to call them bean counters and offend anybody, but the folks that control the money opted to go for this 737 concept. Now, where is my... Okay, here we are. Back up with you. Any advice you would give somebody that's just scared of flying? Go up and talk to the crew. A lot of nervous flyers come, instead of hanging a right turn and walking down the aisle to get in your seat, hang a left. The cockpit doors open before the flight, and come in and talk to the crew and tell them who you are and that you're nervous about flying or whatever particular thing you're nervous about, and talk to the crew about it. And they'll gladly talk to you all about it. I've seen that work very well many times. When you get up there and look your crew members in the eyes, it really helps settle your nerves down that you now know who the pilots are. Am I ready to fly the 7? I would love to go fly the 737 MAX right now. I really want to go check that out, check out the training. I want to learn a lot more about how they're going to get this thing back on the line for all the pilots, what sort of training they're going to require of it. Will MH370 ever be found? I bet they'll find it one day. And until they do, we won't know anything more about that story. Down to 3,900 feet now. Okay. Roswell and Tulsa, that's where all the 737 MAXs are currently parked right now. Southwest was a primary drive for the 737 MAX, but I think American Airlines played a big role or big hand in this as well. Thanks, Animal. Okay, so are they getting lined up on the arrival for a landing to the south, it looks like? How about a rebranding of the 737 MAX? Yeah, that I bet you it won't be called the MAX by the time it gets back out into the public. Training would be, training would be anticlimactic. Now that we finally know what's all built into the MAX and how it all works in great detail now, everything is easier in hindsight. 737 MAX should be cargo converted. Yeah, this will probably turn out to be one of the safest aircraft ever. Have one of the safest flying histories once they get through all this debacle. Lots of planes parked at what used to be Kelly Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas. What is Kelly Air Force Base these days? Is it a big civilian field, and who's using it? My take, Junaid asks, what's my take on the Pakistan's fake license scandal? I just pulled up an article I got to read from a Pakistani pilot. It's, like I said earlier, it's hard to get the truth from fiction from the news over there. And so it's going to be a big overreaction, and it's going to catch a lot of legitimate people up unnecessarily, and they've got a lot of systemic problems in there. they can't. Yeah, they can't. You cannot certainly have somebody else stand in for you for a test. Proving that is going to be another problem. And of course, in other parts of the world, you are guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around. And that's going to be a big problem for a lot of those pilots, regardless of what side of the fence they were on. Can I zoom in? Can I zoom in? Oh, that's a good idea. Thanks. Let's do that. Yeah, let's bring it on in a little bit here. Thanks for the tips. Ah, darn it. The 737 MCAS for a new name. That's not too snappy. Kansas City, thanks. The 737 Neo. Yep, the most scrutinized airplane ever, the 737 MAX. The Phoenix? How about the 737 Phoenix? No plane will ever be called a MAX ever again. The Super MAX. Yeah. Good idea. Tulsa, Sao Paulo. Man, it's been a long time since I've been to Sao Paulo in the 777. Those were some good long runs down over the Amazon in the middle of the night in the 777 down to Sao Paulo. Great dining down there. Long layovers. 4 a.m. in Bangkok. Good morning. Yeah, we don't know what happened to the MH 370. We just don't until they find it. There's no cover up. It's just a matter of finding the airplane. Yeah, retire. That would be something. I got to get a few more bucks in the retirement savings account. Okay, got a CAL FIRE question here from Ron. CAL FIRE is going to phase out. No, that's a great point, Ron. I recently did an update on the CAL FIRE C-130 program here in California at McClellan Tanker Base. No, they're not phasing out the S2s. I should have made that clearer in the report. They're not phasing out the S2T in favor of the C-130. The C-130s will supplement the S2Ts. We still critically need the S2T aircraft to be the initial line of attack along the foothills of here in Northern California. The S2Ts can operate out of smaller airports like Nevada County, Columbia, and all up and down the foothills here and protect these areas with a rapid response. Hey, Pete, quiet on the set. Whereas the C-130s cannot. They got to operate out of the Central Valley and have a little longer time to get to the fires. So the C-130s will not be replacing the S2Ts. Is he turning final now? Is this his final approach coming on in? 737 Apex. How about that? You just saw it fly over Seattle. Oh, timed out. I'm too cheap. I've been busted. I didn't pay my subscription for FlightRadar 24. Well, darn it. Let's do this here instead. Let's see if I can full size this. Where am I? Get over here. There we go. Let's go full size. How do I do this? Yes. That's not going to work too good. She's not going to like that. The kids and the dog. Well, shoot, my live feed pooped out there on the FlightRadar 24. Anyways, keep watching there on FlightRadar 24 on your own home screens and let me know how this plays out. I'm sure we're looking for a successful conclusion to this test flight. Let me see if I can get in here and answer a few more of your questions. Let's get rid of some of these unnecessary tabs up here. There you go. OBS software is a little bit clunky. Okay, more questions. How many FAA test flights are they planning on? Not sure. It'll be several. And of course, a lot of the work will be done in the simulator, and most of the work that's remaining is the figuring out the training that they're going to do in this aircraft. What are the major changes on this new recertified version? Well, you'll have to just stay tuned to the entire 737 MAX saga on this channel here as we've been going through it as it plays out. The main change is MCAS is completely redesigned to be redundant and not as powerful and not so powerful that it can overpower the pilots. It's still in the airplane, but it's brought back to its original design intent. And there will be future changes to the 737 MAX in the future as they consider either A, a third angle of attack indicator, or B, a synthetic airspeed, which they already have in the Boeing 787, and they considered in the 737 MAX originally, but decided that they wouldn't be able to have the same type rating as the original 737s if they implemented synthetic airspeed into the 737 MAX originally. Yeah, hope for 3 green. You guys keep watching on FlightRadar 24. Let me know how that landing works out, and I'll get a subscription so I can keep watching. Are all the S2s turbine powered? Again, we're talking back about CAL FIRE. Yes, the S2s have all been turbine powered for quite a few years now. The last of the radial powered S2s for firefighting have been gone for a long, long time now. How long will it take to get the 737 MAX aircraft parked around the world, updated with the software and ready? That's probably a year-long process. The ones that the ones that were flying and parked, they can get those going in a matter of weeks. Those aircraft have been getting regular maintenance and regular inspections and regular software updates so that once they get the final FAA-approved software, those aircraft can be made ready in a matter of weeks. The backlog of aircraft that has come off the assembly line since the assembly line was shut down, that backlog of I forgot the numbers. What was it? 450 aircraft, 400 aircraft. That may take a year or so. Descending on final now. Duck. Do you see a future for Boeing, or will they suffer the same fate as McDonnell Douglas? We don't have a choice. They're all too big to fail. We only have 2 choices now: Airbus or McDonnell Douglas. Airbus or Boeing. There is no alternative. There's a 4,000 aircraft total backlog at Boeing. Over 3,000 of those order backlogs are 737 MAXes. We don't have a choice. Boeing has to survive. You couldn't start up another airline manufacturer simply quick enough. Kelly, okay, thanks, Joe. Kelly is now the 433rd C-5 Reserves and F-16 Texas Air National Guard, and the other side of the field is Boeing Defense Systems Depot for the C-17s, and well over 100 MAXes stored on the ramp. Thanks, Joe. Joe, regular contributor here to the Blanco Lirio program. Good morning from India, 3 a.m. Oh, yeah, just it'll be when this MAX is certified and done and back flying, it will be fine. Now, you still want to be careful about who you choose to fly with as you travel around the world, because as we've talked about on this channel before, your levels of safety vary as you travel throughout the world. Refresh. It's good. This whole 737 story is just going to be an amazing story from the beginning to end. Just pay the dang subscription. I know, it's so cheap. A lot of C-130s, since the Coast Guard is going to the HC-144s. Is that little twin-engine turboprop I see flying around nowadays? Okay, where's the chat? I lost the chat. Yeah, Airbus is losing the 380 aircraft, but that's going to be water under the bridge pretty soon here. And unfortunately, I understand the A380 is not able to be converted into a freighter because of certain design limitations. So, Boeing stocks a bit. It went up high so much. I don't know what the current state of Boeing stocks. I think this COVID thing has hit Boeing stocks harder than anything else because of the lack of demand in flying is going to mean that there's this big backlog of orders. Yeah, it's got to get done, but it doesn't got to get done tomorrow as it as was the case before COVID hit. So as the airlines go, so will Boeing and its stocks and its fortunes. And unfortunately we're going to see several years of troubles for airlines around the world, including here in the United States, for the next couple of years. Right seat 787. I should go for that. That's one of the other topics we're talking about today. What should Brownie do? Now that I got my the special exemption letter from the FAA to go back and get a Class 1 medical, what job should I go back to? Right seat of the 777 or right seat of the Boeing 787? I'll form up some kind of an informal poll and get it up here on the channel, and I'll take your input and seriously consider it, because there's a lot of different things to consider between those two aircraft. And I would really like to learn all about the 787 and share it with you as I learn too. It's an exciting new aircraft, a lot of exciting new technology in there. Left seat, plenty of left seat time. Yeah, the whole Air Force career, once I got out of pilot training, I was made an instructor pilot, it's PIC, and then 141 left seat, and then C-130 left seat, and then Forest Service left seat. Only until I got to the airlines was I ever stuck in the right seat for so long. Yep, 737, a comeback story like no other. Yeah, 78 with some GoPros. Unfortunately, I still can't film video from the cockpit here in the States, unlike over in Europe. Yeah, time to get Pete. Thanks, John. Time to get Pete up in some gliders soon. Seaplane, Pete, you're going to get a hamburger. You want fries with that Happy Meal? Thanks, Seaplane. His dad pockets the rest of it. Okay, so root cause of the MAX crashes. What percentage would you assign to pilot training failure and what to engineering failure? I don't want to make that call right now, but there would be a lot less pilot failure if the pilots had known more about the systems that were in the airplane in the first place. Knowing what we know about the 737 MAX now makes handling that emergency sound so much easier. But at the time, I got to say, after the first accident, I thought everybody pretty well knew what the deal was with the 737 MAX, yet it happened twice. It happened again. Let's see, Elon Musk, yeah, that would be a potential, but getting up to speed quick enough would just take forever. Boeing at 194, but weren't they up so much higher than that before all this happened? Night-capable Firehawk helicopter water tankers. Yeah, I should do that. Thanks for the heads up on that. I saw that. CAL FIRE has some giant Firehawk brand new helicopters with some amazing new technology on board as part of the CAL FIRE firefighting fleet down at McClellan and based throughout the state of California. Up 14%. Thanks, Herps. UK flying again today on the July 4th. Why land at Seattle versus Boeing Field or Renton? Not sure on that. Okay, so he's back on the ground, safe and sound. The first 737 MAX recertification flight. It appears to be a successful flight. Hopefully we'll get some technical information debriefing from the folks at Boeing and find out how it went. Of course, they're not going to tell us much if there was any glitches, but based on the safe landing, I'm sure that it all went very well. Time to get the Luscombe back in the air. I got a big event coming up here soon, and then I'll be ready to get that Luscombe back in the air. I'm really looking forward to flying it by myself again. That's the way I enjoy flying that aircraft the most. 787 for the dream. Yeah, it's a lot of Yep. As opposed to Boeing 777. So I'm getting a lot of folks in favor of going over to the 787 instead of the Boeing 777. Now, the other things to consider are the schedules and the trips and the relative seniority, but we'll have to weigh all those options. No, I have not been out to any major airport to see how deserted it is out there. Yeah, I'm going to get a PSA test in August and confirm that those numbers are still virtually zero, and we'll need to take those numbers into the AME for the first class medical to get that ball rolling after August. Go with the 7-8. All right. How to find on FlightAware? Boy, I should. I don't have a way of messaging you that link, but just try a search function on 737 Max. If some of you guys out there can help somebody find out how does he get the link, you can get the historic flight data here on FlightRadar 24 of the 737 Max. Uh-oh. Now my own live feed's going away here. I got an ad on myself, and I can't follow along with the chat here. Well, what the heck is this? How did this happen? Pete, I'm going to need your technical help again. It might be just about time to sign off here anyways. How did you get that? Okay, I got it. Thanks. I'm back up and running. All right, what else have we got here? What's the pay difference between the 7-8 and the 777? None. It's the same pay rate, both of those aircraft. Right seat. 7-8, so maybe less. Back on the ground at Boeing Field. Good news. Thanks, Michael. The 777X, now that would be something if we buy some. It might be a while before our airline gets the 777X. Do you think some pilots won't go back to the MAX? Potentially, if they're in an airline where they've got that option where they could switch airplanes. But if you work for Southwest, you don't have an option. You're flying the 737 MAX. You would have to change your bid status. You'd have to switch airplanes. Too bad the 777 is retiring. They are a fantastic airplane. I really love that airplane. It's been the biggest, smoothest, easiest Boeing aircraft I've ever flown, the Boeing 777. The airlines won't buy these MAX jets. No, they already bought them. They've bought over 3,000 orders to backfill. Now, there has been some cancellations, and the media has tried to make a big deal out of these cancellations, but they've been on the order of a couple hundred or so, or they're to airlines that are going out of business anyways. So there's thousands of these aircraft that are already sold, that those orders need to be filled. Delivery center for the 7-3 is in Seattle, not Renton or Everett. Yeah, how can I post a link on here? Let me try that. Let me just take this here, copy, go to the live feed, and, well, yeah, just put it right here in the conversation. There. Try that. There should be a live feed come flying by on the conversation. And try it again here. There's a second one. I'd like to put it in the comment section below, but I don't see where to get quickly and easily to the comment section below on the YouTube channel here. Let's try that. Here and here. This is where I need to get Pete up and running on all this technical stuff, or have somebody backing me up in the control room. Try it again. Edit and paste. There's a second one. I'd like to put it in the comment section below, but I don't see where to get quickly and easily to the comment section. There we go. Good. Got it. Okay. It's also in the comment section. YouTube channel here. Let's let's try that. Here and here. It's also in the comment section there of the on the YouTube channel, so it's stationary. It's not flying by too fast. Technical stuff, or have somebody backing me up in the control room, so I'm not edit and paste, feeding back on myself. There's a second one. I'd like to put it in the comment section below. But all right, let's see where we are on the chat. Easily to the comment section. There we go. Good, got it. Okay, it's also in the comment section. YouTube channel here. Let's try that. 777 going to be scrapped by a lot of airlines. Yeah, it looks like they're parking a lot of them on the YouTube Australia. They're talking about parking them, flying by too fast. Technical stuff, or have somebody. My base is Los Angeles, so I got to commute from Sacramento Airport down to Los Angeles Airport. And that's been another problem with all the cutbacks in flights. People are having a hard time commuting to work because of the lack of flights. It's also in the comment section. And most everybody has been placed on reserve flying status, so they only go flying when the phone rings. So they need to get down to the airport. Usually long-haul reserve affords you about 12 hours notice ahead of time to arrange to get to work on time. My base is Los Angeles. Crew rested and ready to go. I got to commute from short-term. You only down to Los Angeles. Only gives you 2 or 3 hours notice, so you got to. And that's been another problem with all the cutbacks in flights. People are having a hard time commuting to work. Flights. It's also in the comment section. And most everybody has been. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? Let me crank it up. You're right. It is too low. Let's crank it up here. Crank it up. Hours. Desktop audio. Let's get it. How about that? Does that sound a little bit better? My base is Los Angeles. Crew rested and ready to go. Thanks, backcountry. Los Angeles. Who do I fly for? I fly for a major carrier here in the United States. People are having a hard time commuting to work. Is the MAX prone to go high without? Is the MAX prone to go high angle of attack without? Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? Let me crank it up. You're right. Yeah, it is too low. From my research, it's just to handle my previous iteration. How about that? Does that sound a little bit better? Of the 737. My base is Los Angeles. Power up on these. Thanks, background has turbo fan, big engines. Who do I fly for? 75. I fly for a major carrier here in the United States. So this MAX is going to pitch up more than the older versions of 737. Is the MAX prone to go high angle of attack without? Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? Just to handle. You're right. Older version is too low. From my research, it's just to handle. How long will this whole process take? How about that? Does that sound a little bit better? My base flights put power up on these. Thanks, background has turbo fan, big engines. Who do I fly for? I fly for a major carrier here in the United States. So, and then getting those pilots. This MAX is going to pitch up more than getting the last of the 737 directive. The MAX prone to go high angle of attack without. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? Just to handle. You're right. It is too low. From my research, it's just to handle. How long will this whole process take? How about that? Does that sound a little bit better? Asking about the snowbird. My has flight loops. Power up on these. Thanks, background has turbo fan. How big I posted. Who do I fly for? I fly for a major carrier here in the United States. So getting those pilots. MAX is going to pitch up more than getting the last of the 737 directive. The MAX prone to go high angle of attack without. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? Just to handle. You're right. It is too low. From my research, Big Daddy, it's just to handle. How long will this whole process take? How about that? Does that sound a little bit better? Asking about the snowbirds. Power up on these. Thanks, who do I fly for? I fly for a major carrier here in the United States. So getting those pilots. MAX is going to pitch up more than getting the last of the 737 directive. The MAX prone to go high angle of attack without. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? Just to handle. You're right. It is too low. From my research, Big Daddy, it's just to handle. How long will this whole process take? How about that? Does that sound a little bit better? Asking about the snowbirds. Power up on these. Thanks, background has turbo fan. How big I posted. Who do I fly for? I fly for a major carrier here in the United States. So getting those pilots. MAX is going to pitch up more than getting the last of the 737. The MAX prone to go high angle of attack without. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? Just to handle. You're right. It is too low. From my research, Big Daddy, it's just to handle. How long will this whole
process. How about that? That sounded a little bit interesting.
About the snowbird.
Thanks. Who do I fly for? I fly for a major level carrier.
So getting those pilots max is going to pitch up more. Getting them in the last
The Max prone to go high angle of attack. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? From my research, it's just how long will these process? How about that? That sounded a little bit interesting.
That's right. Let's be honest. Going to the place we want to go to.
Who do I fly for? I fly for a major level carrier.
So getting those pilots max is going to. We only have to look at ourselves and getting them in the last
The Max prone to go high angle of attack. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys? From my research, it's just how long will these process? How about that? That sounded a little bit interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Let's be honest.
Who do I fly for? I fly for a major level carrier.
Max is going to. We only have to look at ourselves and getting them in the last
Max prone to go high angle of attack. Yeah, is that volume too low for you guys?
They're swinging for the chandelier now.
My research report just how long will these process? How about that? That sounds a little bit interesting.
Yeah, that's right. The sound all messed up now.
Who do I fly for? I fly for a major level carrier.
Max is going to. We only have to look at ourselves and getting them in the last. Uh-oh. Okay, now, did I fix that sound audio? How's that sound now? Echo. It should be all turned off now. Bad audio. Echo, echo. Feedback, big time. Major echo. Okay, I think we got it under control here, but we got to get going. I've got this audio all messed up. I think we got it straightened out. Let me get to the bottom of the scroll here. It's working now? Whew, jeez. How long was that? Did that go on for? That was terrible. Oh, man. I better stick to my day job. This broadcasting solo is harder than anything else. Good. Yeah, I turned over here and saw all red on the audio panel. Not good. Doesn't stink now. Okay. Well, we got to get going today. A couple things are coming up here. I'm going to go meet a guy, and there's a Super Stol airplane here at the airport today. I want to go check that out. Maybe go for a little ride in it. It's the Super Stol XL by Just Aircraft, if you're familiar with that. Just a fascinating Stol airplane. We got a great big trip coming up soon. More information on that as we get ready to head out to Wichita for the Aviation Content Creators Award and meet everybody out there. In light of the current situation, probably best if we do mostly live feeds of what we got going out there. Couple other updates. It's official. The Reno National Championship air races have been canceled and for this year, and that's that. Kevin Quinn, the founder of the Dead Cow Playa High Sierra Fly-In and Stol drag races, is considering, well, first off, Nevada's saying we really can't have the fly-in this year because there's a limit to the number of people that can gather at once in the state of Nevada, and it's going to go on through October. So it looks like the big fly-in is not going to happen, but he's considering putting on the Stol drag races and live feeding the whole event. So that could be really fun and interesting. If just a handful of us, within the limits of the current recommendations by the state of Nevada, get out there a dead cow plus the pilots and the crews and put on the stole drags and then do it as a live feed for everybody to watch from the comfort of home. And that sure would save you from eating a lot of dust in your airplanes and RVs. So we'll be looking forward to that. So I'll have more on all that soon. Thanks so much for watching. This has been the historic first flight of the recertification of the Boeing 737 MAX up in the Pacific Northwest on FlightRadar 24 until yours truly failed to pay a subscription and and the FlightRadar 24 crapped out on us. But it looks like that flight landed uneventfully. So a little piece of aviation history watched live. Thanks so much for your support here, and especially over on Patreon, because that's the support that keeps bringing the detail levels of reporting on tragic events that cannot be monetized on YouTube, like Pakistan Flight 8303. You just can't run ads on that kind of content. So thanks so much for your support over on Patreon and here on the live chat, all everybody that's pitched in. Thanks for your support. We'll see you guys here. Gotta go.